Hi class, welcome to art. We're going to use our art journal that we made last week to do some drawing exercises. But first I wanted to just show you a flower in my garden. It's called a euphorbia. I love it. Let's get started. For this project you will need an eraser, a pencil, an optional blue pencil, your art journal, if you don't have that, some white paper, and some household objects. Our first exercise is learning how to draw ellipses. So let's open our art journal and we're going to practice drawing some ellipses. But before we do that, let's take a look at some of the ellipses you can find in the shape of a cup. Here you can see a cup. Here's what it looks like from the side. But as you view it from different angles, you can start to see a little bit at the top. As I turn it more, the ellipse, which is this shape right here, gets bigger and bigger, or wider and wider. You can see, look how wide it is now. If I keep turning it, I see more and more of the ellipse until it becomes a circle. So let's get started in our journal. Let's practice drawing some ellipses. Okay, take your pencil, and first we're going to start viewing the ellipse from the side. Take a look over there. Draw a straight line to view it from the side, and then you're going to start seeing a little bit of the ellipse. Circle around. I'm going to see a little more of the ellipse, make it a little wider. Just getting wider and wider, viewing more and more of the top of the cup. Just practicing circling around, making wider and wider ellipses. Until we get all the way down to the bottom, where we're viewing the cup from the top in a full circle. We can go ahead and just practice. Circle around. Really skinny. The most important thing is that you don't do something like this. To make these points, that's not a true ellipse. So you want to round those like this. So that's why the motion for the pencil needs to be circling around, smooth. It does get pretty narrow on these really thin ones, but you're just going to practice a couple circles around. I'm going to fill the whole page with ellipses. Then I'm going to write. Okay, now we're going to put some of our ellipse practice to use. On this next page, we're going to practice drawing a cylinder. So we're going to draw the cylinder that you can see on the left. And we're going to start off by drawing the top ellipse. Then we're going to draw the side. The other side. Now this curve should be the same here. We're going to make it like this is transparent. Now we can't really see through this can, but we're going to pretend like we can. Okay, now we're going to add this line here. Okay, and what we can do is we can take away this line with our eraser, like that. Another way to draw it would be to draw with blue pencil the top, add the line here, draw the ellipse on the bottom. Remember, this line and this line are going to be the same. Add the curve for the lid. Now what you're going to do is just outline in pencil all the shapes or lines that you actually see. So I can't actually see this line here, but I can see this line. I can see this line. Okay, and I can see here. So there we go. We have one shape. You can use a phone, an iPad, or a photograph to draw a picture of your image. For this image, start with an oval at the top or ellipse at the top, circling around, then draw the sides, then draw the bottom. The bottom curve is the same as the top curve. Notice how I didn't do the full ellipse in the bottom. Next, add the little line in the lid and in pencil. I'm going to practice drawing a bowl. You can see here on the left. So I'm going to start off with my pencil. I'm going to draw the ellipse at the top. I'm going to try to get this shape. You want this to be symmetrical, so you got to practice. You can turn it upside down to see how it looks. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to also kind of define this bottom edge there. Let's practice one more time. All right, so we're going to practice with our art journal drawing different shapes with cylinders. So you can look around your house and find some different shapes like cups or vases or cans, salt shaker, pepper grinder, bowl, colander. Alright, so I'm going to start off by drawing a cup, and I'm just going to show you a bunch of shapes and you can draw along with me, and then I want you to pick 5 shapes of your own and draw them in your sketchbook. Next, we're going to work on shading. We're going to practice making values or shades from light to dark. To do that, we're going to make a value scale with 7 different types of grays. All right, let's get started. Pencil from light to dark. So I'm going to turn my notebook. I'm going to practice making some values. Okay, so draw a long skinny rectangle and mark off 7 squares or rectangles. That's 8. Okay, we'll do one more. Okay, we're going to start here with the lightest light we can go with our pencil. Notice how I'm holding my pencil like this and I'm doing diagonal lines. Then we're going to get a little darker. This box will be just a little bit darker. I'm going to get a little bit darker, and you get darker by putting more pressure on your pencil. A little bit darker. We have to go back over it a little bit. A little bit darker this time. You're going to have to start putting a lot of pressure on your pencil to make it darker. A little darker. And one more. This is called a value scale. Now let's see if we can make a value scale, just one consistent value scale going all the way across. So we start with light, and we get a little bit darker, a little bit darker, a little bit darker, This is called a gradient. Okay, now let's see if we can put it all together into drawing a bowl. So I'm going to turn my book back, flip to the next page. We're going to draw a bowl and include value or shading. So I'm going to start off by sketching the bowl. Turn it upside down, check it out. See, it needs a little fixing right here. Looks good otherwise. Maybe this needs to come in a little bit. Alright, so now we're going to add the value. You can see over here there's value on the inside, so I'm going to add a little value. I'm just going to use, so remember, value is shadow. Add a little shadow here. And remember, we did that gradient. You can go from dark to light just by how much pressure you put on your pencil. Now, there's also a little shadow on this side. I'm going to go ahead and add that shadow over here. Again, it's going to be a little bit of a gradient. So remember, a gradual transition from shadow to light, getting lighter. If you want to practice, this is a good way to practice. I can erase this line in here. I don't think I'll be needing it. Okay, gonna keep going a little bit. Now notice behind has a little shadow. So I'm going to add a little shadow here. Okay, well that's it for today. Let's take a look at what I did over the course of the day. I did my value scale and my gradients, my objects. I did different objects. Hope you had fun working in your art journal. See you next week.